What's going on, everybody? Mando Trading here, and in this video I'm going to talk about how I use options flow and dark pool data in my trading. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a comment below if you use options flow, or if this video helped you out in any sort of way. So let's come on over here to Cheddar Flow. That is the flow service that I use. It's one I've been using for a long time. I like the user interface. I know how to use it, and ultimately I think it's just really smooth to use, so that's why I use Cheddar Flow. But anyways, you'll notice that right now obviously it's stagnant because the market is closed, but in a normal world where the market is open, these are going to be flashing in and out on this live feed all throughout the day, all these orders, right? Which could ultimately be overwhelming to some if you don't really know how to go about it. I'm seeing all these orders, oh my gosh, $42,000, that's crazy. But really there is kind of a method to how I'm using it, in that if I'm looking at something like SPY, for example, a $43,000 zero DT or something like that is really not catching my eye. I'm looking for those large scale or unusual type orders, and that can go for whether it's an ETF, whether it's just a name that nobody really talks about or anything like that. So ultimately the way that I'm really using options flow in general is just kind of as a scanner. So an example of this, and we can go over to the historical flow here and type in, but I want to talk about this one specifically. If we're to go over here to TTD, which had earnings last week and ultimately knocked it out of the park, but I saw this order come through for $25.5 million in the money, so playing a high delta, right? So as you get in the money, your delta rises. So playing that high delta, just an interesting look. But seeing $25.5 million, automatically I'm thinking to myself, okay, let me take a look at TTD. So when I do, and I come on over to the chart of TTD, you're going to notice that, wow, what a setup, right? And TTD is not a name that I ever look at, to be honest with you. So I did add it as a result of this, but seeing something like that come through, went through all my time frames, you're going to notice that imbalance here is a monthly imbalance right off 50% of the range. That's a slam dunk home run, and ultimately completes my model about $30 higher. So to me, using options flow in this way is that's really the way that I'm using it, almost as a scanner. So because if you were to look at it, and you're going to see there's numerous orders, and of course you can come over to the filters and alter it and stuff like that, but which I do as well, specifically for the dark pool prints. But when it comes to the options flow, $50,000 on SPY is much different than $50,000 on, I don't know, maybe even TTD, right? So there's like levels to it almost, and there's a scale in which it's not going to really get me going unless I'm seeing $1 million type orders coming in on SPY, SPX, Qs, IWM, or anything like that. But again, it's just as a scanner. I'm seeing names that I might not look at and I might not see all of the time. And if that's the case, then maybe it's a good time to go take a look at the chart, right? So, but anyways, to continue, this is not something that I'll use blindly. So for a while I was trading off of flow and pretty much using it without really looking too much into the chart. But ultimately, to me, the chart really does have the answers. And if this is used as a way to kind of almost alert you to a potential setup, that to me is a home run. And that's why I still have moved it or maneuvered it into my strategy up to this point as well. But in addition to all of the things that I've already stated in terms of what I'm looking for specifically, there is so much to, or I guess that goes into all of these little columns that really I would have to make a very long video to kind of do them justice. But in short, and I actually have a thread on this, I can retweet it and post it up there or something, or maybe drop the link in the description of this video. But a bought put is much different than a sold put. A bought call is much different than a sold call. So there is a lot to it. And the thing that I see a lot on X is that when these orders come through, there are some times where that might not be specified, and that can be extremely misleading. So brushing up on your options, just the overall concept of the option, to me is a useful tactic as well. Also, I mean, thinking about it from this perspective too, sweep, splits, blocks. Again, this is all something I'll post in there, so it's a little bit easier for you guys to go through at your own pace. But yeah, that's the flow component of it. Now, with the dark pool prints, I think that these are extremely valuable. And again, let's just shift the date because market's not open right now. But to me, dark pool prints are excellent, and I like to look at them specifically after market close. So, for example, a couple weeks ago, we had a situation where we had an ugly, ugly day on NASDAQ. And let me just go pull over this chart. Or, I'm sorry, on SPY. So let's come over to SPY. And there was an ugly, ugly day. And I think it was here on the 8th of January, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I need to go to the daily chart. And here, right here. So right over here. We had a very ugly day, big time retracement. And from that point, also, let me just fix this while we're at it here. There, whoops. Aha. So despite that ugly day, that large gap down, we did get into discount of a bullish range, ultimately holding on to that bullish volume imbalance. So when I saw that candle, I was automatically thinking to myself, let me see what the dark pool looks like to see if maybe it's setting up for an order block to form and a reversal back to the upside. And ultimately, I was right in that. There was like $6.7 billion worth of dark pool prints that came through in the after hour session that ultimately gave us a little bit of a spur and a jump here to kind of give us that boost to create that order block, right? The idea of an order block is a large scale order. If we can use dark pool as a way to, front run that, that to me, it's the slam dunk home run. So if we're to go over and look at, say, I don't know, any dark pool specific level or something like that, when I'm seeing, 1.7, $1.3 billion, I have to think to myself, is this the creation of a support level or creation of a resistance level, right? Because using the dark pool, they're not necessarily telling you the direction of the trade. And if you think about it, if you saw 1.7 billion come into the buy side, you're probably going to follow that. So the dark pool is a off exchange way to make transactions in a way that's not coming through on the tape. That's going to show everybody in the world what direction $1.7 billion is going towards, right? So by using these tactics or these ideas about the dark pool, you can kind of get a little bit of a jump start into what you could possibly see for the next day, right? To me, on a large down close candle like that, it wouldn't make all that much sense for all the selling to be coming in after hours when we're down $7 from our high. That very easily could have come in just a little while ago in order to maximize their profits, whoever was selling that 1.7, whatever it was, I think it was $6 billion on that day. So, but that, to me, using this type of info on the dark pool is extremely useful when it comes to, kind of forecasting or having an understanding of what might happen for the next day. And oftentimes it will line up with what we see in that next session or what we see on the chart. So here's another one that we looked at. We looked at it after Wednesday on Tesla, because early in the week last week Tesla was getting smoked, and we were like, this is a bit odd. It might have actually been Tuesday. Let's just come over here and see. But let's see. Yeah, here it was. Okay. So on that, what was it, Tuesday, we saw after market close, we obviously, going to do our little homework, and we saw that there was $183 million in dark pool prints after hours that came through on Tesla, and it's like, after a big down close candle in a bullish structure that got us into discount. Let's see how this all plays out. And I tweeted it at that time that bullish order block inbound, and what the bullish order block looks like. Again, for anybody who's newer to my content here, let me pull it over to Tesla's daily chart, and a bullish order block looks something like this: down close candle followed by an up close candle that closes above the previous open. This would also be an order block: down close candle followed by an up close candle that closes above the open previous candle's open. And you'll notice price got into the order block and bounced. So by having this additional information and kind of looking at it through a lens that I don't think many people do, and how they can translate that onto the methods that we're using here, to me it's just a awesome slam dunk home run type of way to get, I guess you could say, early access to information. So but yeah, in short, that was just quickly how I wanted to run through the dark pool and options flow. So ultimately, options flow, seeing unusual names is, to me, maybe it's time for me to take a look at that chart. And then seeing things on, the big names that are typical, seeing large money going in a certain direction that could aid you in a situation where maybe you're on the fence about something, and, you're saying to yourself, oh, I could see the bullish point of view, but I can also see the bearish, but now I'm seeing $100 million into Nvidia longs or something like that, and that could, kind of get you out of what your little rut was, or if you were in between, kind of give you a little bit of a push. So yeah, that's all I got for this video. Again, if it's something that you were curious about and it's helped you, feel free to drop a comment below, let me know. But that's all I got for this one, so I'll talk to you guys soon.